A riveting testimony there from Des van Rooyen, the former cabinet minister. You remember, of course, that he was the Minister of Finance for just 4 days. There was an unfortunate nickname that was given to him as a result. All of this happened towards the end. It was the 9th of December 2015. There was a huge pushback, and he was replaced within a few days by Pravin Gordhan. This, of course, was all decisions taken by then President Jacob Zuma. And remember what happened after that. All of that fed, of course, into the ANC's leadership battle at Nasrec. You'll remember that time. But let's get some analysis on what we've seen today. The political analyst, Dr. Sam Koma, on the line, joining me now. Dr. Koma, you've been watching it along with us this afternoon. Riveting stuff. I mean, one of the big issues has got to be the fact that Des van Rooyen wanted to appoint 2 people to senior positions as Chief of Staff and as a Special Advisor, and these were people you hardly knew.
Very interesting revelations coming out of today's proceeding at the Zondo Commission. You're quite right, Stephen. But very important is that Mr. van Rooyen's testimony basically constitutes the core business of the Zondo Commission, because one of the terms of reference of the Zondo Commission is to inquire into whether any appointment of any member of the National Executive or Cabinet, as we call it, or functionary, was disclosed to the Gupta family or any unauthorized individual before such appointment. Now, Mr. Fuzile's testimony has implicated Mr. van Rooyen's appointment of the 2 special advisors having direct business links with the Gupta family and their companies, namely regiments. But also we now know that there was an affidavit that was deposed to the commission by Mr. Enoch Gondongwana of the ANC's Economic Transformation Committee, also affirming that he knew prior to his appointment, and also having hinted to Mr. Fuzile that you are likely to have a minister who's going to bring 2 special advisors with Gupta links. So that testimony has been tested today, and it has been affirmed, because we also know that sometime last year, Mr. Mwakora Matlodi testimony before the commission also alluded to the fact that there were some cabinet ministers then under the Zuma cabinet who were even bold and brazen to call themselves Gupta ministers. So that was tested, but also towards the end of the proceeding, we have now also got a sense that the former public protector's report titled The Capture of the State does point to evidence that there are cell phone records that point to the fact that there was some movement of Mr. van Rooyen, who happened to be at the Gupta compound prior to his appointment and also subsequent to that. So he could not dismiss this kind of strong evidence that has been already adduced before the proceeding. But of course, he tried to play around with the issue of him having the prerogative of appointing his own special advisors. But now the chairperson of the commission cornered him to say, how do you appoint individuals that you hardly know much about in terms of having worked with them previously, and also just getting their CV just this morning before you make the appointment. So that also has been tested before the commission today. But I think in a nutshell, we seem to get a sense, Stephen, that Mr. van Rooyen's appointment seemed to have been externally influenced, in this instance, by the Gupta family.
I mean, what's incredible is that one of the people that he wanted to appoint, Mohammed Bourbat, who worked with Regiment's Capital, they worked with the Guptas. He had met him once before in a restaurant 6 years ago, 6 years before he was appointed, but he kept his number in his business card. I mean, I like to think I have a long memory. I like to think I have lots of numbers in my phone, but I wouldn't appoint someone I'd met once before, his number I just happened to have.
Exactly, and that's what is revealing about the credibility of Mr. van Rooyen's testimony today. To say, how did you even not have a handover process with your predecessor, in this instance, the former minister, Mr. Nene, in terms of familiarizing yourself with the inner workings of the Treasury, and also what informed the agency and the qualification criteria of arriving at these appointments of your special advisor. So the credibility of his testimony today was also questionable in that regard.
There's obviously bad blood between Des van Rooyen and Longiso Fazile, the former Director General in the Treasury. I mean,